Hello and welcome to episode 25 of our Timberborn 1.0 full release playthrough of the Volktails faction on the Down the Plug Hole map, Cycle 35, Day 17, where last episode we started playing with the Riverborn Raft Logistics mod, and for the most part had it working until we didn't. So, we got some troubleshooting to do today, we've got some redesigning of this whole thing to do today, and you guys had some pretty helpful comments in that regard, so I'm hopeful that we can get this resolved sooner rather than later. Yeah, so mistakes have been made, but we're going to do our best. We're going to get it figured out. So it is currently nighttime, so the beavers can't really do much, but I figured it was probably about time to go ahead and get a different control scheme for enabling and disabling, thank you, the raft dock here. Currently it's set to Raft Gary, who is a weather station, but a couple of you guys pointed out that it would be smarter for us to actually use a depth gauge. And basically only enable this when there's actually water here. So since we're coming up on a drought, it's not going to be working anyway, so we might as well go ahead and just do that. I think maybe right about here... No, they actually can't reach that. Let's put it in a spot where I don't have to build another thing to go there. So maybe actually right here would make more sense. That should be fine. Let's just set this to, because this is going to be pretty shallow most of the time. I just want it to turn on when there's actually water here. So let's go for, let's say 0.25. We'll start with that. We'll call this raft floatability. There you go. That's a real word. Sensor, and then I'm going to remap this to, all the way down here, raft floatability sensor. And then we'll have to come down here to... Yeah, see, these are all just... they're just collecting up here. They're not going to be able to do much of anything. We'll get it figured out. That is... right there. Okay, so we have 8 days. And, you know, theoretically, as this water level goes down, which it will, maybe some of these will launch because they'll actually be able to touch the wheels. So, we might as well take a little bit of time and talk about some of the suggestions you guys had for this. One of the very popular ones was raise this up out of the water so that they could, you know, just roll on up here and fly off. On the mod page on Steam, the Steam Workshop, there is a screenshot of this where the water is only about a third of the way up. So I would imagine that's probably how it's intended to be used. And the water level here was actually slightly lower when I started utilizing this ramp, and I don't know, it was working so great with the original settings and the original all of this, but there was no water coming through here, and I said, well, you know what, we have to have water coming through here. So there's so many suggestions for how I could have solved this, and I'm gonna have to pick one way. Just please understand, I just have to pick one. It doesn't mean your idea was bad if I don't choose it, but I think what's gonna make the most sense here is to, instead of having floodgates here, because remember, this was originally a diversion for bad water, which we've handled at the sources for quite some time. So we really don't need this at all. This is just, you know, maintaining water level up here, and then eventually sending water down this way, all the way around. So instead of having floodgates here, why don't we just replace all of these with a single flow gate throttling valve? So I just think that's going to make more sense. And it's going to make it so we don't have to play with quite so much of this stuff. And most of the water can come through here, which means we're going to be more easily able to fine-tune this. So, recognizing that, and also knowing that we're going to basically have to do this entirely from the drawing board, let's just, you know, get rid of these rafts. We have so much wood, it doesn't really matter if this goes to waste, because, honestly, it's completely insane in the first place to even be doing this. And also... something people pointed out was all of this wood coming down here, going all the way down to here, is being picked up by beavers and taken by zipline up to the start. So we've created the Sisyphean task of log distribution, as I think somebody put it in the comments, which I thought was really funny. So we probably don't need to have as much log storage up here as we have historically had if we want this to be, you know, actually functional. But on the other hand, I just think it's neat. So, I think we'll be okay. But we absolutely do need to get this figured out. Let's resynchronize all of these. And then I'm just going to lower this so that this reservoir fills up. Because, let's be honest, we're not really missing too much here. I just want that to be a little bit more full. And get this lowered enough where we can just be in a better spot to get rid of these gates without it being a huge pain in the butt. This, of course, will flow through here to keep this filled up, and it'll get to about... what's this set to? Oh, 2.9. Yeah, okay, this can hold a lot more water. Yeah, so that's just going to get this all the way down. There's nothing that's going to die if I let the water out. It's also just 7 days. It's totally fine. Just let this all down here and then rebuild as necessary. So we don't need to have the contamination sensors here. We can rip all this automation out. As fun as it was to have it here, we just don't need it. And it's going to make this look a little bit cleaner. Plus, depending on how we want to do this, since this isn't diversion anymore, I could actually move this entire contraption here. The only reason I built it here is because, you know, the contamination sensor and all that was in the way. So, just consider this a wholesale redevelopment of everything we have going on here. And figuring things out. Ah, yes, the wind turbine. Somebody left a comment, and I was absolutely embarrassed that I hadn't thought of this. And they said, why not just use a water wheel to power the ramp? Because the water's flowing anyway. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You really are. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. But, you know, sometimes that's just the way it goes. So, now that this water level is low enough to not really cause any problems, just gonna yeet it, delete it. And this whole thing here, you know, as nice as it is to have the gravity battery, I think I'm gonna end up redoing this regardless. So, let's do this a little bit more cleanly here. Let's just take that out. Take all of this out. Take all of this out. Take all of this out. And I mean all of it out. Just empty it wholesale. I know we've got all these rafts kind of floating everywhere. You know, that's fine. These will still float downriver for whatever that's worth. And we can just kind of completely restructure this entire thing. So remember what I said, we wanted the flow valve, or at least I think that's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to try. Throttling valve. This used to be called a flow valve maybe, or I'm just completely insane. One of those is going to be the correct answer there. Or maybe I want to keep this as a fill valve. No, that might cause some flow issues. I'll just do throttling valve here. One wide probably is going to be enough. Just right here. I want this to be kind of as far away from here as possible so it doesn't mess with whatever. So let's just do... We're gonna see what happens with this. We're gonna see what happens with this 1 meter per second cubed, and then just get this completely replaced here. We probably honestly don't need this to be as high. And since, yeah, you know what? We don't even need anything here. We can just leave this open. We don't need any ramps at all. What was I thinking? This could just flow straight the way out and not be an issue at all. Yeah, and that's... okay. Did I just accidentally come up with the most effective, easy solution by not even trying? Okay. It's fine. Now, I am going to leave this diagonal raft guide in, though, because I think that is a good way to utilize this space here. Yeah, I'm just going to have this go all the way up just in case. And because of how this is set up here, if we actually want... because we don't need this to have any depth at all. Alright, new idea. New idea. I know this is probably driving you insane. Just know it's going to be okay. We're going to be alright. Going to be okay. I'm going to take this out, because now what I can do is I can actually think for a second. Remember, we still have 6.5 days. We've got time to, you know, radically re-engineer this thing and make it not complete garbage. As much as I do love the idea of the ramps, this probably isn't the right place for it. We can try those in another spot. And some of you have given me some pretty funny ideas on what to try and do with some of these things. I want to make sure the beavers aren't going to silly-billy themselves as they are wont to do. Let's try... If they can't get down here, they can't get stuck down there. Seems to be the idea, at least. So let's do that. Just flatten this all the way out. Flatten that all the way out, and then if this flows out on this level, then that might actually be pretty good. We'll just do a throttling valve here, and then I suppose I can just do that. I probably don't need it to be this tall, but yeah, who knows? Maybe there's an actual verifiable reason for this. So what we can do instead, since this is already stepped, is we can come in here. What's this? 3 deep. Yeah, we can do one of these numbers. And then that will actually give this an interesting cascading effect without the ramp, without the need for, any of that nonsense. It just automatically flows. And any water retention for the benefit of keeping things green could actually be on this side, where the rafts aren't going to be going anyway. So if that becomes... Just trying to think. If I just do dams sideways like this, then maybe that would be a good way to do this. For right now, let's just get this on triple speed. I am going to time-lapse a little bit of this, just so they can get all of this dirt in place. And we're going to see where we stand when they finish that, how much time we have left in the drought, because I think I've got a pretty simple, not necessarily elegant solution, but a simple enough solution that won't cause additional grief, that'll just allow the raft to work, so we can go play with some other stuff in other places. So I'll talk to you in just a moment. We'll see what the beavers got up to. Alright, so they got this all completed. So I think what's going to be a smart thing now is, instead of damming this up, what we can do is we can just put in some diagonal raft guides so that the rafts don't have a temptation to go down here before this all fills up, because it will take time to fill up. Probably the easiest way to do this also involves these natural dams being removed, because this is no longer deep enough for that to be a problem. And I think in the spirit of what we're attempting to do, I will reconnect those stairs over there, because the rafts should be able to float over the paths. You can't put guides over paths, but I don't need guides to go right there. That's what I can do instead. Once these get removed, that is too far, huh? Alright, let's do that. Let's keep this in here, and let's instead... yeah, let's just do this. Rotate that, put that there, and then do that. That should keep those from going there. I don't think this is ever going to be deep enough to go over that, but if it is, then, well, I guess that solves that problem. This will basically always flow downhill here, and that should, I think, solve our issues. So we'll let them take care of that. And then, let's see, we do have all of this stuff that maybe still hasn't been automated. I thought I did. No, they are. They are automated. They just... We're consuming the materials fast enough where they just still have to be on. That's fine. I still have a... yeah, I got a lodge that I can turn back on. So that should get all of that housing done. That means I can get rid of that. Means I can also get rid of that and that. Because I was trying to replace all this mess with kind of structured housing, and that fits the bill pretty well there. Oh, there's no power here. Of course not, because we don't have gravity batteries. That was another thing. People have been asking me, hey, are you going to put gravity batteries over here? And I said I would as soon as we had everything figured out. Well, we don't have everything figured out, but I think we do need to have some gravity batteries. And that's one of the things I was thinking about doing here. Was coming over and making like a ditch for gravity batteries to go down into, and then replacing these power shafts with those. So it wouldn't be that hard for us to get up here. I just didn't do myself any favors with how I had this set up, so why don't we take care of that real quick? Just to get this, I suppose... Oh, you know what? We have the technology. That's what I always say, right? Let's put that there, let's put that there, let's put that there, and then let's put that here. And the reason I'm not going to, disconnect any of this yet is because I do need to be able to still have power go between these. So what this is going to allow me to do is come to the back side here with these dynamites. And that's already... I want to make sure I'm not going to intersect anything that I can't intersect, and that is this piece right here. Oh, perfect. I love that. That is going to be nice when we have this all completely blown up. I'll put gravity batteries here. This will fit 1. That'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I will technically have room for 8 as long as I put another one here. Just using that as a backside on that. Now if I did this one, this might actually be just a little bit too far over. Let's just take that. Actually no. That's going to be perfectly fine, perfectly in line. I think that's going to be okay. I am going to do this as a double just to keep these at the same height as everything explodes. It's just easier that way. This will need a path so they can get to... Oh. Okay, that does kind of complicate things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I need to, at the very least, blow up these 6 to the maximum depth first, because once I blow this one up, then they're not going to be able to actually access this. Wait a second. No. There's a better solution. There is a better solution here. I just need to do that. And then just get rid of it when the time comes. Oh boy. You know what? We're not going to worry about it. We're just going to let them take care of this way. But now that it is day 1, we should see my beautiful idea working flawlessly here. We've got the throttling valve slowly filling this up. Everything else is going here. Wow, look at these rafts go. They're hitting turbo mode coming through this piece. All right. You know what? This seems like it's fine. This maybe could use a little bit less in the way of flow coming through here, so I'll probably increase this. Let's go to 1.25. Yeah, eventually this does just flow through here. What a simple solution. And it's actually fine. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just think of this the first time. I guess I got blinded by the majesty of the Hot Wheels ramp, which, hey, you know, we can put one of these here. Like, there's no rule that says we can't do that. But we don't need it. So at least we have that going for us, and that's nice. So, folks, it's that time again, where we time-lapse, once again. How many times can I say again in reference to something in the same episode? Find out next time. But, I've got to get this blasted out, and you've seen so much of this, so we'll let them take care of that, and then we'll put these gravity batteries in, and then we can move on to another task, because there's still so much more to get done, even though it's episode 25, and these usually last about 30 episodes. We're not even close to what I wanted to do in this playthrough, so we're going to keep on going, and we'll see what these guys get up to. Alright, so this is done. You might be wondering why I didn't blast this one all the way down. Well, simple answer is I didn't want this to be a trough for bad water. So this, should I choose to put a battery on the very edge, it will not go all the way down, and that's just the way it's going to have to be. But what we can do now, and bear with me because it is going to have to be one of those things that, don't make me say it, but you already know, I'm just going to have to, you know, build these one at a time. So we aren't going to sit here for another 20 minutes and do this way. But what we can do is, since we're already over here, take a look at all of this mess and maybe make a couple of adjustments so that this is slightly more able to deal with what we're trying to do here. I think, given how this is spilling over, it's going to be worth putting that in there. Probably easiest to just make some stairs. I know it's not the most entertaining way to do this, but I just need this to be exploded, these two. I think that's going to solve, quote-unquote, most of our issues. Maybe the flow's too much for these two little things. But let's also not forget that all of this water is man-made, quote-unquote. We can turn these off if we feel so inclined, once a fullness level is reached. So, do I want to do that? Not necessarily, because I do like the idea of putting as much power through these wheels as possible. But at a certain point, it does become just a bit too much. So, it's going to be the easiest, thank you, autosave. It's going to be the easiest way to do this. Let's do a depth sensor. Can I put one here? I just feel like this is going to be the easiest place to do it. So this under here, I want it to be on. Actually, no, I want it to be off, because this is going to be what powers these. So if this is less than 0.65, then it's on. And the spillover level is 0.65. Let's... I thought it was going to have just a slight bit more granular control than 0.65. So that is the spillover bit. So maybe it's going to... Maybe this isn't the best way to do this, but we're going to try this. We're going to try this. Let's call this reservoir... No, that's not going to be good. Let's just call it aquifer pump enable. And then automate. Maybe not all of them. Maybe I'll just automate... actually, let's not automate these. Let's automate the far away ones. So we'll just have a couple going on all the time, and then these three... Yeah, let's turn half of them off when it's too full. So that way, at droughts, it'll always refill at maximum speed. Let's just give this a shot. Yeah, they're still working on that. This is actually... Oh, it's actually done. Good. I did say we weren't going to park ourselves here, but I didn't say I wasn't going to just keep up with this anyway. So we'll do these in segments. Triple speed, get us through there. How are we looking here on all of the rafting happening? Okay, these are paused because why? Did I have this set incorrectly? Raft floatability sensor is... I have this backwards. Okay. That's awkward. Because I wanted it to be... Wait, no, that wasn't... No, that was right. It just has to be set lower than that. 0.5. Okay. I was wondering what in the world was happening there. So that seems fine. These are automated. That's supposed to be that way. This is all fine. Yes, I know they're still sending all this up here, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. We still haven't gotten to bots yet. So, I've asked a couple times, but people haven't really let me know their thoughts on it very much. Do you want to see bots in this, yes or no? I know a couple of you have already said yes. But I'd like at least a little bit more input, because if we're going to use bots, which we absolutely can, then we will have a lot of need for wood and all of these other things, and that's going to help justify some of the rafting things we've been doing. So I would appreciate that input. Other things we can do with the rafts, like moving food and stuff, we did talk about that. We haven't implemented that, and I did say that was going to be a future episode. But looking at the recording timer, it's probably not going to have time today. That could be a next week thing. But I do want to get more rafting stations, of course, converging probably in roughly the same spot. This can unload basically everything as long as it keeps the storage empty enough. So if this is just going to be the universal reception area, then that's fine. We could also have a different place where the food goes. We could have a different place where, you know, basically anything that is an actual product can go. Let's check over here. Okay, for kaboom. Get those done. Is that going to clean up our water streams? It looks like it is. That actually looks kind of nice. I like it. I don't like the stairs, but yeah. Okay, so this is... okay, because it's not... There it goes. So that is going to just kind of turn on and off, isn't it? Should I do greater... No, that's less than or equal to. I think it's fine. Do Do I want it to be... Well, because it's never going to get to 0.7 because the way the dam is. I guess I should have just left this on less then. Yeah, this is fine. I just wanted to slow it down a tiny bit. We'll see these cycle on and off slightly. Yeah, okay. And because we fixed this, it doesn't flood quite so much. So maybe that was unnecessary. I don't know. But it worked. It was some sort of excuse for me to, you know, do some automation at least. Yeah, so we'll just, since we're... That's the wrong one. Since we're over here, we might as well just stick that in there. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. This, I still don't like this area. I want to redo that. I do want to continue redoing housing. We don't have a fountain of... That's the wrong one. We don't have a fountain of joy yet. Oh, we're going to need more science. So I guess that means I can turn the observatory back on. Not that it has power. That's probably something that should be hooked up to the main grid at some point. But regarding the Fountain of Joy, I need to find a good place for it. That's going to be... Actually, maybe that's a good thing to put right here in the middle. Kind of, at least. This would not be a terrible place, except this is already too deep. So why don't we... have to be careful where I put this, because it's going to be somewhat of a challenge, depending on where I do this. That's 5 there. If I were to put this, say, here, facing which direction? There we go. That would, I believe, be high enough, and they should be able to build it from beneath. So, I guess we'll put that there. That's a decent radius for a lot of what's happening here. It doesn't hit everybody, but... Thank you, autosave. That doesn't mean that we can't put one somewhere else. There's multiple places that would probably benefit from this. And I know I said I was going to put Lidos up here. We're going to do all sorts of other stuff. So since we have back here, why don't we do this? We have all of this space. We can just put in, behind here, Lido space, which is probably going to have to be... Those are 4 wide. I'm going to have a pathway to stick them on. Let's do... Yeah. Let's just do this. Let's take the stairs away. No, they need to be able to actually build this. I don't know that they can. Let's do that. Yeah, just rotate... Oh, I guess I do need to have one more here. And this should be mostly full all the time, and then I guess this kind of works to be back here. Sure, it's not an elegant solution, but again, when has that ever stopped what we've been trying to do? Now this back here wasn't originally intended to be blasted out, but I think it's going to need to be, at least if we're going to symmetricalize this. I can hear you now. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. Yeah, I guess, but it's more fun when it is. Let's do this out. I'll need to get those done, but I can already start putting in this. Let's give it a swap. There we go. And then because of how this is set up, why don't we try and do some suspension bridges across here? That might be kind of fun. Ah, it's 3 tiles. Okay, well that's going to be awkward because I only have 1x1 bridges. Or I could just do a 3x1 on one side, but that doesn't look very fun now, does it? Let's do a 2 and a 1. Even though it's asymmetrical, but it's alright, well. It'll be alright. I may end up wanting to reroute this entirely on the... I don't know. I fear I'm making things too complicated, as I normally do. Maybe we'll just leave that alone. Still making plenty of power. I will continue my quest to slowly replace all of these with gravity batteries. See, that's all fine. You have nothing to do. Well, that's by design. Yeah, they'll take care of that eventually, assuming they can actually get to it. Actually, if I replace... Nope, come on. If I put the 2x1 on this side, that means they can actually... I guess it didn't matter. I was going to say that means they could just build across, but this has to be built before the bridge on top of it can be built. Now they're just waiting on the dynamite. So let's speed this up, just so we can get a slightly bigger head start on what's happening here. Thank you, autosave once again. Not going to cry about losing all of these. Let's just get rid of those in advance so it doesn't become an issue. I love how I double prioritize the dynamite. They still built this first. Good job, beavers. How did I suddenly get to 40 vacancies? How do I have 13 incapacitated beavers? Look, how are they injuring themselves? Is it just because these buildings are constantly turning on and off, or they're working in the mines, or what? So I thought, oh, the mine, okay, that's still not full. I guess that's fine. It is what it is. Here I thought this was going to be kind of a fast project here. I don't dare go into super time-lapse mode again, because I kind of don't want to deal with that. Let's see, what else did I put in my notes here? We actually pretty much did everything, short of, you know, raising the ramp, but that was almost scary for the beavers. I suppose, yeah, I can just have this. I can just have this connected there, even though it's not the best spot for it. I need to flip that again. No, I don't. There we go. That matches. Is it perfectly symmetrical? No, but that's fine. This is just going to give them somewhere to do some more swimming. In terms of well-being, everything's looking pretty good outside of wet fur, so that should help with that. Lido also is kind of low participation-wise. We haven't built an agora yet, have we? Where, oh where can I put an agora? Now that is a ground-only building, and it requires a supply of magical green juice. So why don't we find a spot kind of near... You know, this might be a little too on the nose in terms of placement, just because of the way this is, but I kind of like that there. Let's do that. Let's get these prioritized so they can actually get built. And then I guess I'll put one of those right there. We don't have a tank for the extract, so that will have to go... I guess right here is fine. Just make that a obtain thing. Okay for kaboom. And then agora right here. They can do their weird chanting or whatever happens in there. Oh, we don't have showers. Oh. See, this is how I know Kurt's not been around in a little while, because there's been minimal shower complaining. All jokes aside, where can I put some showers? We don't need an audience for them before anybody suggests that. Well, there's not really a lot of great spots. Also, you shouldn't shower right next to the water pumps, because even though these filter, you don't need that. You don't need that. Let's find another place. Is there anywhere over here? I could put like one here. That's not a terrible place for it. One here behind the tapper's shack. How about that? I know I want to redo this, just not today. Put two of those there. That should be, you know, better than nothing. And then the wet fur is going to also come from that. With that, we've unlocked all of these, and I think we've built at least one of everything, or will have by the time this is done. We've got detailers already. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I got 3 of those. All right. I have a dance hall. We have a mud pit somewhere. Yeah, did I put those? Yeah, I did. They're up here. Which, honestly, is kind of funny how far away this is. This has nothing to do in range, but it says... Alright, well, I guess... Thank you, autosave. That's on me for not marking the rest of these trees. They could easily cut. Give them something to do. Are they in range of this? They are not. They're just outside the range of this lumberjack flag. Does this have range to plant? It does. Why was this not... Why was this not planted? Was I going to do something else over here and I just never... Ah, okay, I think that's probably why. It has something to do with the zip lines needing clearance. Vector, Victor, etc. I don't even do the jokes anymore, I just reference them. It's fine. Just let these guys do what they gotta do. It's already marked, yes it is. How are we doing over here? Any progress? Okay, marginally. Yeah, they haven't done the Agora yet, that's fine. Mud Pit. Mud Pit might be too far, honestly. We probably should put some more elsewhere. Weather Vane gives well-being? Since when? Alright, well that's cheap enough to build, why not? Guess I'll just put one of these up here, why not? They'll walk past it enough, or some of them will. Let's see. We did some banners. How did I already forget what I was going to be, Oh, mud pits. Where we're at, though, mud pit. There we are. Well, I could just put this right at the bottom of the stairs. That's actually, you know what? That's not a bad spot for it. Just have one of those there and not be completely overwhelming the space. That could work. That could be decent. And then, to keep that same kind of theme, organically building, we can put one there. I'm going to call that good enough for right now. We should have a decent enough grasp on most of the rest of this. Okay, this doesn't have access to a lot of these trees. However, why don't we just mark a few more of these, see if there's anything else in range. Yeah, that one. It gives them something to do at least. Even though we definitely don't need the logs. This is still paused. Do we need to have that unpaused? Probably not. 43 vacancies. Keep in mind that a lot of them are just slush from this, so it's not really that big of a deal, but I think we gotta get those numbers up. We need another housing complex. And I do want to redo / remove a lot of that. We still have plenty of stuff to do in future episodes. Try not to jam too much into one thing. But I would like to know, are you satisfied with the solution here, which was to just keep it extremely simple, stupid, and not complicate too much? Or are you really, really missing the raft ramps? Which, again, to be perfectly clear, we can still put in. We can absolutely still do it. I just thought it would be kind of a funny thing. But I do want to still do food transport with some of this stuff. We can have multiple stations for logs. We can send stuff from all the way over here if we want. There's not really anything stopping it. It's just going to keep going. I'd have to take that out or put another thing somewhere. I don't know. I just think it's neat. It's such a cool mod. And it is so well keeping with the spirit of the game. I'm honestly shocked it's not a base game thing. But that's part of the charm of the mods, is that, you know, people have all sorts of ideas that they can contribute. And it doesn't have to be part of the base game. People can just enjoy stuff. That's fun. Wow, indeed. We have the Fountain of Joy. I think, friends, this is going to be about the time to say goodbye for today. We did solve a bunch of small problems. We did fix the rafts, and we did start improving some of the well-being. So I appreciate you sticking with the series. I appreciate all the enthusiasm for everything as I'm working my way back into hopefully daily videos sometime soon, within the next couple of weeks. And I'm very grateful that you choose to spend time here today. Beard Boosters also, subsidizing the channel, making it possible for me to do things like Gasp, taking some time off, and recharging myself, and then coming back to do all the fun beaver things. But truly, it's not possible for me to keep doing as much as I'm doing, and especially not as much as I've done in the past, without those folks who are supporting the channel, make it so that the quote-unquote business of YouTube is not quite so severe and demanding of me at all hours of the day and night, trying to chase algorithm stuff. I just want to have fun playing with beavers on the internet, right? So those folks make it possible, and I'm always going to be thankful, and I'm always going to remind you, no matter how many times you're sick of me saying it, I'm going to say thank you when it's due, and those folks have certainly earned it. Well, whatever it is you're doing, whether you're on that list or not, I hope you stay safe and you have a fun rest of your day, and we'll see you back again soon for more beavers. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.